So let's start off with managing nutrition. Bismillah. So as we did with managing sleep, we said there are spiritual solutions, there are physical solutions, and there are social solutions. And this is a common theme that I try to propagate throughout our work, that there are everything in life, we have spiritual side of it, and then there's the physical, the body side of it, then there's a social aspect of it. And this is part of our the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. And for us not to neglect these three areas, I try to cover all three areas in different aspects. So with managing nutrition, if you think about it from spiritually, how do you manage your nutrition spiritually? If you think about the food we eat every single day, and if you think about the impact it has on our productivity. Food, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the food for us as a means for us to live a holistic, healthy lifestyle. Over the years, especially in the last 10, 20 years, humanity at large, and the whole globe is going through this epidemic, we have literally taken nutrition out of food. What we're eating is like the shell of a food, not real food. All this processed stuff we're eating, the stuff we get from, straight from manufacture, which removes all the wholesome stuff, the starch and the sugar and the white rice and all these things, those things actually take away the wholesomeness of the food. So the food we're eating today is not very nutritious as it used to be. So from a spiritual perspective, you need to come back to the source. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this earth, and He created all the means for us to live sustainably and to live a healthy and productive lifestyle. And He created this food for us. So whenever you have a meal in front of you, ask yourself, where did this come from? And this is not about halal or haram. Just ask yourself, how did this food get to me? The apple that you see on your table, how did it get to you? Was it from a healthy farm, a farm that was taken care of, people were paid well, people were given the rights, and people were growing this in a way that's the way they don't throw all these sort of chemicals on it and we're eating it? Or is it something that basically is completely processed, so when it comes to us it's almost half what it nutritionally should be? There was a great quote by somebody who said, nowadays if you ever go to, especially in Europe or in US, they say, you see the apple? No bugs come to the apple. You see, if an apple that no bug wants to eat it, there's something wrong with the apple. Because everything is so genetically modified, and it's so much pesticides on it, and it's about chemicals that we're actually inhaling and eating, and we think, oh, this is good, this is American apples. And it's like, dude, there's some stuff going on in there. Now there's a whole, industry now about organic and growing things organically. But back to basics, all I wanted to say is, think about your food. Think about the food you eat. I'm not here to lecture about eating healthy and don't eat sugar and don't eat that. Most of us know what to eat, what not to eat. But just think about the food and think about how to make this eating the food a spiritual exercise. Today, when you sit for your meal, inshallah ta'ala, whether it's for lunch or for dinner, when you first, of course, start with Bismillah. When you say Bismillah, you're actually saying in the name of Allah. And when you mention Allah's name, what are you saying? You're actually saying, in the name of Allah, I'm going to start eating this food. I'm going to experience this pleasure, this joy Allah has given me. I'm actually almost being thankful to Allah, best by saying Bismillah. And this will be very, very careful not to start your food without saying Bismillah. So whenever you start to say Bismillah, say it loud, let your family and children hear about it. Eating with the right hand and eating what you need. Eating what you need. We always tend to, everyone's laughing here, each of us tend to overeat, eat what we don't need, or we go beyond what we need. So eat what you need and leave a space for some air. Leave a space and breath. Takes 20 minutes for your food to register in your stomach. You might start off eating thinking, I'm still hungry, but wait 20 minutes. Think, oh, I'm actually full. Even if you haven't eaten anything from that time. So it takes 20 minutes for your food to hit you. So from a spiritual exercise, number one, understand the source of your food. Number two, make eating your meal a spiritual exercise. Don't make it only like a simple physical exercise. It's a spiritual exercise. You are actually being thankful to Allah's blessing and using Allah's blessing to give yourself fuel. So you make it spiritual exercise by following the sunnah of saying Bismillah, eating the right hand, and eating what you need. Now, another way to make nutrition a spiritual exercise is to incorporate a habit of fasting. At least once a month, even once a month, you say, I'm going to incorporate a habit of fasting, or 3 times a month, or Mondays and Thursdays, if you can do it. But the idea is that keep a habit of fast. Let it be part of your nature. Every month, on a certain day, I'll fast. Or every month, the 3 days, white days, 13th, 14th, 15th, of each Islamic calendar month, I will fast. Or every Monday and Thursday, I will fast. And let it be part of your parcel, part of the way you live. And you know what, nowadays, it's found that if you fast, and this is actually, there's now been a study about the 2-day fast of the week, and there's a whole craze in the UK now about the 2-day fast. Some guy called Michael something, he said, oh, you should fast for 2 days a week, and that helps you reduce your diet. I'm like, great, we knew that 1400 years ago. So there is that, so all that is old there, we just need to incorporate the habit of fasting. And the beautiful thing is, we're not fasting for diet. We're not fasting to reduce weight. We're not fasting to feel healthy. That's the byproduct. We're fasting to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the intention should always be there. We're fasting to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not fasting for ourselves. So, practical tip. Choose a meal, like today's dinner or today's lunch, and just sit down and contemplate where that meal came from, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided that blessing all the way from the farm down to yours. Nowadays, unfortunately, even our kids, they don't know that, vegetables grow on farms. They think they came from the supermarket, right? Or from the shop, because we're just so used to buying stuff from the shops. They don't understand that there's a farm, there's things. Sometimes you're taking your kids to the farms or taking them to a local market where they can experience all this sort of, the earth, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending to humanity. That by itself is a spiritual exercise. So think about your food from a spiritual perspective. Next, physically. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. So be careful what you eat. If you eat food that has lots of sugar, if you eat food that has lots of starch, if you eat food that basically is not giving you the right nutrition, again, I don't want to go into like a whole list of food, what you should eat, what you should not eat. That will just take the whole day. All I'm saying is, Assalamu alaikum. Kif al-hal? All I'm going to say is you are what you eat, in the sense that you need to think about what are the things that you eat and how you feel afterwards. Sometimes, for example, I knew that if I have a certain heavy breakfast, it actually makes me feel very, very tired in the morning. But if I have a certain breakfast which is full of protein, full of, for example, let's say eggs and full of some whole grains, I feel great. I feel my energy is sustained throughout the day. So you think about the food you eat and the impact it has on your productivity. What food do you eat that makes you feel energetic? And what food you eat that makes you feel tired? Be careful of just quick dips, like quick coffee or quick tea. It kind of peaks your energy, but then it drops quickly. You want sustained energy. And that's why they now recommend that you should eat little meals, have a big breakfast, but throughout the day have small meals. Throughout the day have small meals. For example, have a big breakfast, and then you can have, let's say, some nuts and some drink there, some chicken salad or some like protein and salad and vegetables in the lunch, and in the evening you want to have again some other small meals. So you don't want to sort of, what we normally, unfortunately, this whole again 3 meals a day. Who invented 3 meals a day? It's like we have breakfast and then all the way till lunch. We kind of starve ourselves, then we kind of have a big lunch, and then we starve ourselves until dinner, have a massive dinner. You want to go start a big breakfast, medium lunch, and a poor dinner. There's an Arabic proverb says, "Iftar malik, ghadda wazir, ta'asha faqir." Means have breakfast like a king, have lunch like a minister, and have dinner like a poor man. Okay, so have breakfast like a king, right? So have a full lavish breakfast. Why? Because you have the whole day to burn up that food. Have lunch like, okay, minister maybe is also still expensive. Think of someone in the middle range, right? Something middle, something simple, not too lavish. But then dinner should be very light. Why? Again, back to sleep cycles yesterday. You need less time to digest your food. Okay, so remember, you are what you eat. Avoid skipping meals. Keep a consistent energy levels. Think about appetite versus hunger. A lot of times we think we are hungry, but actually it's just we want to keep something in our mouth, right? It's like, oh, it's it's like, example, it's, I don't know, I feel like putting something in my mouth right now, so start eating sugar, start eating, crisps, chips, chocolate, and the whole day goes, you're just putting things in your mouth. But you're not really hungry. You're not really hungry. You actually just have basic an appetite. That's just you being, I want to put something in my mouth. So think about the hunger. If you're really hungry, that's when you eat. Plan your meals for the week. Sisters, ladies, mothers, even husbands and men who cook, I tell you this, if you want to be productive, instead of every day thinking, what should I cook today? And the daily discussion, where your wife calls you, what should we have for dinner? And then the discussion goes, and what should we get, and all that stuff. Just plan it for the week. And do the groceries at the beginning of the week. Saves you a lot of time throughout the week. So just plan your meals. This whole week, I just want to cook this. Is that okay? Okay, khalas. We agree, okay, we get the groceries, we're done. The whole week, we're ready. We don't have to think about it. Also, another reason why people go for junk food is because they don't plan for their meals. It's like, oh, there's nothing in the fridge. Oh, let's get pizza. Oh, there's nothing in the fridge. Oh, let's get, let's get burgers. Because we don't think, we don't think there's something else alternative. But if we plan for the week, plan our meals, it also actually helps us make sure we have balanced meals and we have meals throughout the week. Again, I also put that under physically fasting because again, it does have physical benefits of fasting. But I said, remember that fasting, you're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now here's a practical tip, which you will enjoy this. Keep a food diary. What this means is ask yourself, what do I eat every single day? Okay? And then ask yourself, how's my energy levels? I had that cornflakes and eggs this morning and I was okay. Or I had donuts and coffee and by 10 o'clock I was feeling terrible. You should keep a food diary, like the food you eat, and say, how does that impact my productivity? Keep a food diary. Think about the food diaries like nowadays the applications where you can actually take a snap of the food and say, okay, you can actually log your food, and it actually helps to keep track of what you eat. So it keeps track of what you eat. So keep a food diary and just study yourself. What am I eating? Sometimes we don't realize how much we eat and how much or what we eat. So this helps you to keep things together, inshallah. Finally, manage nutrition socially. So, Prophet ﷺ says, the food of 2 people is enough for 3. And the food of 3 people is enough for 4. So, Prophet is teaching us again the concept of barakah. And that's one of the 18 sources of barakah. Who downloaded 18 sources of barakah of infographic? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 6, good. So if you download that infographic, 18 sources of barakah from our website, you'll find that one of the 18 sources of barakah is eating with people. If you want to add barakah inside your house, invite with people. Ibrahim alayhi salam would never eat alone. He would go out of his house, find somebody, take him by the hand, go home, and then sit down and eat together with him. He will never eat alone. And even though he has his family, his wife is there, his kid is there, but he still wants to invite somebody, a guest from abroad, and he'll bring him in and sit with him. This is the sunnah of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So think about Ibrahim alayhi salam and think, okay, who can I invite for dinner, for lunch today? We're living in urban cities, we're living in villages where communities were close. So now we live in cities where people are a bit shy of each other and people are a bit wary of each other. But we need to revive the sunnah. This is how we bring the community together. So think about managing nutrition and don't worry about, oh, what should I cook? And please, ladies, don't make it a big deal. I know, don't make it a big deal. If someone coming to your house, it doesn't matter. You don't have to make a lavish 6-course meal. And husbands, don't beat them up if they don't make a lavish 6-course meals. But the idea is that don't make it a big deal. Make it simple. Make it so fluid. Like whatever's in the house, khair, it's barakah. I remember one of my friends in the UK. Mashallah, this guy, whenever I would just be somewhere. He'll come, oh, I'm pick you up. And like, why? Just come pick you up. And he'll go home, and his wife wouldn't know I'm coming. But whatever's there, it's there. Alhamdulillah. And we felt happy. We felt filled. There was like barakah. Even I remember university kids and students at that time were like, okay, there's like 10 of us and there's like one large pizza. Like, half a slice each, you're trying to cut it in different ways. And then, but that pizza was so filling for all of us, even though we're sitting there, it's normally not enough for one person even because we just like gobble ourselves up. So think about how to bring the barakah in your nutrition by inviting people. And basically a practical tip, invite someone new to your house today. Somebody you don't know, could be a colleague, could be a friend, could be a Muslim, could be a non-Muslim. You're not doing da'wah. Don't make it sound like come and start giving lectures. Just invite them over. Hey, come over to dinner. Why? Okay, just inviting over dinner. Your neighbor, friend, somebody, invite someone for dinner. I won't say tonight because I know tonight is a bit busy. Tonight we can't. We have to go back. So invite somebody for dinner tonight. Invite somebody, make it a habit. If it's once a week, where there was once a family, I won't forget this, one family in Malaysia. They were accustomed, the family had a habit every week, they would invite somebody to their house. in this guy we find the masjid, some random person. So one day the father met this guy who came from another country, from Cambodia, and told him, okay, you seem like a stranger, come over. Just get this, come over. The guy went over to this person's house, he sat there, and then he started telling about how the Muslims are affected in Cambodia, because Cambodia unfortunately is under a very strict dictatorship regime that is really affecting the Muslims there. And the family was so affected by this that they started a whole charity to support Cambodian Muslims. In fact, specifically, they were setting up a hospital in Cambodia, just for that random visit of one person to their house. So you never know what comes from these invitations. So think about inviting people. Again, you don't have to be someone special. You never know, like there's a quote I read yesterday, it said, you would fall in love with anybody once you know their story. Once you know somebody's story, you just like, subhanAllah, you realize there's such the human level there as well. You have a question? Yes, please.
So my question is, how do you strike a balance between all these?
Okay, good question. So the question was, how do you strike a balance between charitable and someone taking advantage? Again, we need to overcome this trust factor, right? Yes, there are stories, and yes, there are issues. Of course, you're not going to invite a drug addict to your house. You're going to invite somebody who will be like, okay, this guy looks really dodgy. You invite somebody who, again, it doesn't have to be someone who's extremely poor, extremely rich. You invite somebody whom you feel comfortable, whom you interact, and subhanAllah puts in the heart. If that person means harm for you and your family, then you ask Allah to protect you from that person. But you're there for the intention, I'm only inviting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to kind of overcome that. It's going to be hard, and maybe there'll be one or two cases that may Allah protect us all, that might be bad, but I think it should not be an excuse now used, oh, everyone's bad, I will not invite anybody. If you can start, here's the deal. You can start with people in this room. Invite somebody, how about that? You guys invite each other. Okay? Guys invite each other. So someone is next to you, invite them to your house, say, hey, come over, I'll have dinner for you. So these are people who've come for this workshop, so they understand, they have the same mindset, so you can start with that at least. So even you don't have to go like, I want to start with going with extremely charitable purposes, but the idea is to just get into the habit of nutrition, or having food with people. Again, this is again, Prophet ﷺ sometimes used to go out and he used to sit with the poorest of people. Sometimes he said the poor would only have bones, and he would sit with them and he would eat with them where they're eating. Just to bring the humbleness to our lives. Because again, we just need to stop this, okay, we need to be careful and all that stuff. It is, I understand the problem, but you need to think about it from perspective of how are we implementing sunnah in our lives. Is that okay? All right. Okay. So again, each person's body, the way they process the food is differently. Normally, they highly recommend having a breakfast because it starts your metabolism early. Now, the way your metabolism starts, maybe sometimes it makes the blood goes down, makes blood pressure goes down, you're feeling sleepier, but it's generally better for you to start that process early than delaying it till mid-morning or lunch. Because basically you're giving your body the wrong cues. You want to tell your body, it's wake-up time, it's morning, here's breakfast. And then your body starts working. And then by evening, it's kind of calming down. It's shutting down its metabolism system. It's starting about time to sleep. So think about it. But again, you might say, well, maybe if I eat, for example, I don't know, red kidney beans, it's causing issues for me. But if I had eggs, I don't feel bad. So maybe the type of food you eat for breakfast is having impact on your nutrition. So that's why food diary will help you judge that. So with children, there's two things. Of course, what the family eats at home, what the family sets rules. I spoke in the parenting session. I said, try to aim that every family should have a family meal time. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what the culture is here in Nigeria, for example, but I know some people where the father's downstairs watching TV, the mother's somewhere, the kids upstairs playing video games and eating. No one's sitting together and eating a meal together. So at least have one meal a day, a family sit down. It's actually important just for the relationship, the man and the food. In those family sit downs, you make sure that the food is nutritious, it's healthy, and you train them on it. If all our lives we've been training our kids on, McDonald's and junk food and all that stuff, and then eventually, eat vegetables now, they're like, great. They've already been trained, already guided on what to eat. So how you train, how you raise your children in terms of what you give them every day over the time, that's what they feel comfortable with over in the long run. So think about.
Thank you for watching this video. To get more exciting content, kindly like, share, subscribe, and put on the notification bell to get more from our channel. See you next time.